Imagine being told that your dream, your lifelong dream of becoming Hokage, the very thing that you've worked your entire life for, it could vanish in an instant. Not because of your strength, because you're damn sure strong enough to be Hokage. Not because of your intelligence, because you are clearly very intelligent. But because you refused to betray a friend. That sounds pretty familiar, right? Minus the intelligence part. Because that's exactly something that didn't just happen in Boruto's story. Is also something that happened in the Naruto story. In fact, history is repeating itself. Right now, Sarada Uchiha is walking the exact same path as Naruto Uzumaki, even if it means her Hokage dream, it could be crushed by the feudal lord himself in the future. Join me in today's newest Naruto Explained video where your OBC, your original Boruto chief, breaks down why Sarada likely has an inevitable interrogation led up by Kobu, likely with Sai there in the room, the feudal lord's aide Kobu, and it might be the most important moment in her entire character arc, and why it mirrors Naruto's own struggles with Sasuke, why you should care that the narrative might be going down this route, and why it proves that she is without a shadow of a doubt the true successor to Naruto's Will of Fire. Also, don't forget to check out and subscribe to my Anime Explained channel where I discuss other anime and manga besides Naruto and Boruto, and my Everything One Piece Explained channel where I discuss One Piece in the form of explained videos and blind reactions of every chapter as a brand new reader of One Piece from chapter 1 all the way up to the most recent chapter. Both channels will be linked in the description box as well as with videos in the end credits for your convenience. So let's just start right away with Sarada's perceived dangerous loyalty. So Sarada has spent the last 3 years openly defending Boruto despite the power of omnipotence rewriting reality. To everyone else, Boruto, he's that traitor who killed Naruto Uzumaki and ran away from the village, and he tried to kill Naruto's child Kawaki. Again, that's how their memory remembers everything. To Sarada, he's her comrade, the true son of Naruto, and she is someone who refuses to abandon him. She's gone as far as to pass out photos of baby Boruto being held by Naruto, desperately trying to prove the truth. Sarada, as we were told in chapter 1, was one of the loudest voices. Immediately after Omnipotence was cast in, she realized what was going on. She was one of the loudest voices that was pounding the drum for Boruto to be brought home. Boruto's own illustrator Ikimoto flat out tells us the jacket she wears is the same brand from Boruto's favorite store. She purposely chose the colors and etc. as a way to make people remember Boruto. And even on the new volume cover, it's literally the pink and black that you got with Boruto. Her colors are on the opposite side of the color wheel. The brand jacket is the exact same jacket Boruto wore in part 1. That's as clear as day of a nod from Sarada to Boruto. Omnipotence, it made her look like she was delusional. And it also, in a very underrated aspect that I don't see enough people talking about, you better believe there were some people who believed that she was a conspirator. Especially when you factor in that her father Sasuke, someone who was on probation at the discretion of the Hokage, he also helped Boruto escape. People likely gave Sarada a side eye. Then you have Shikamaru, who is now the acting 8th Hokage. He directly warned her. He basically said, I'm paraphrasing, if you keep siding with Boruto, you will destroy your chances of ever becoming Hokage. But Sarada did not back down. She doubled down on it. She outright told Shikamaru that she basically didn't acknowledge him as Hokage because her inspiration for Hokage was Naruto, the Hokage who never gave up on Sasuke even when the entire world wanted Sasuke dead. Just like Naruto stood up to his friends, stood up to the 4th Raikage, stood up to other people from other villages, laid on the sword for Sasuke multiple times, continued to push back even when someone like Gaara was telling him that when Naruto eventually becomes Hokage, he's gonna have to make hard decisions like the one that Gaara is telling him where he had to kill Sasuke. Naruto continued to push back. It should be worth noting Naruto having the bravery to stand up to the other members of the Konoha 13. That says a lot about Naruto's conviction. Sarada, she is now standing up to the entire system for Boruto's sake. She is mirroring Naruto's journey very well. It's very poetic. The daughter of Sasuke is now sticking up for the son of Naruto. It's basically flipped everything on its head. And that's what makes Kobu's investigation so dangerous. The feudal lord, not the Jonin Council, which there should have been a video uploaded yesterday by the time you guys are seeing this. The feudal lord is the one who has the final say on who gets appointed Hokage. He is the most important person in any nation that has a ninja village. If Sarada refuses to cooperate with his aide's investigation, or if she is caught in an outright lie about aiding Boruto, which she's smart enough not to lie, her dream, it might be erased before it's within her reach, which makes that parallel to Naruto's struggle so poetic. It's very intentional mirroring this done by Ikimoto here. Think back to Naruto in part 2, somewhere around volume 48 of the manga, when Naruto was getting interrogated and beat to the ground by Hidden Cloud Ninja, all about Sasuke, because they thought Sasuke, who at the time was allied with the Akatsuki wearing their robes, they thought that Sasuke killed Killer Bee. Naruto, despite getting beaten into the ground, he still refused to turn on Sasuke. Later on, Sasuke went on to kill Danzo, the acting 6th Hokage. To put that into perspective for my American viewers and for the international viewers of the channel, imagine a scenario where we elect a president and said president gets assassinated before January 20th of 2029, where they officially become the acting president. That's basically what Sasuke did to Danzo. That same rage that you would be feeling regardless as to which political party you're in. Not making this political. I know it's a very politically tense time right now. Just bear with me for a second. That same rage that you would be feeling at a commander-in-chief being killed, that's the same thing that Sasuke was dabbling with when he killed Danzo. Granted, nobody was missing Danzo because there are people in the Jonin Council who did not want him to be appointed Hokage, but the point still stands. Sasuke killed an acting leader. Naruto, despite that, after the 5 Kage summit, after clashing with Sasuke, he still stood his ground, this time against his own friends, where you even had someone like Neji saying, dude, you're the one who beat Pain. You mean to tell me that you weren't able to beat Sasuke? Naruto basically drew a line in the sand and he stood on it and he said, I'll handle Sasuke, you go worry about something else. Naruto vowed and he stuck to it. He also made it clear without ever having to directly say it that killing Sasuke, it was never an option. Now, I want you to think about Sarada. Sarada is essentially reliving Naruto's exact struggle, but she's doing it under arguably even harsher circumstances. Naruto is still a hero in the public eye when he defended Sasuke. If somebody questioned him, Naruto could just go, yo, I'm the one that saved the village from pain. I think I've earned a little bit of grace to say I'll handle Sasuke. I'm kind of a big deal right now. You don't believe me? Go ask your girlfriend. She probably wants this Uzumaki sauce. Naruto could have said something like that, and whoever he was talking to, they would just have to take it. Sarada, on the other hand, she don't have that kind of a lifeblood that she can stand on. She is the daughter of a supposed traitor, defending someone who everyone thinks is a Kage killer. Not just that, she is also the niece of somebody who was a former Akatsuki member and somebody who murdered one of the noble clans of Konoha, the Uchiha clan, because Itachi was framed as the person that took down the entire Uchiha clan by himself. He carried that dishonor. The general public does not know the truth about the Uchiha clan coup d'etat. That dishonor is now double for Sarada. This means that the stakes are higher, the risks are greater, and the political consequences, they could end her Hokage aspirations before they ever begin, depending on what gets brought up in this meeting. But it is that willingness to bear that burden, to be misunderstood, to endure, to risk everything for the sake of a friend. That's exactly what Naruto did. And that's why Sarada narratively feels like she is his true successor. This makes it even more complicated because, again, she has the legacy of the Uchiha clan working against her both in public and private. She is the daughter of Sasuke Uchiha, the man who once abandoned the village to join Orochimaru, who killed the 4th Kazekage, or rather he's credited with killing the 4th Kazekage, and he is credited with killing the 3rd Hokage. Sasuke Uchiha was also the person who killed the acting Hokage in Danzo. He fought alongside the Akatsuki wearing Akatsuki robes, hunting down a Jinchuriki for them to extract the Biju from their Jinchuriki. And he only narrowly avoided execution because Naruto begged for his pardon, pointing out, hey, yes, Sasuke did start the war on the side of the Akatsuki, but also Sasuke's the reason why you guys are not mush brains right now inside of a cocoon. Even after years of redemption, even after having spent 16 years on a probation at the discretion of the acting Hokage, Sasuke has once again gone rogue in the eyes of Konoha in terms of what happened when Omnipotence took place and he assisted Boruto to escape the village instead of delivering Boruto to the very shinobi village that wanted Boruto's head. Now, 3 years later, 19 years after the 4th Ninja War, Sasuke, even though he is currently bird watching as a tree, Sasuke still has that stain on him. Again, when you get into her being the niece of Itachi, who massacred his own clan, who spent years as a member of the Akatsuki, you have that public shame that comes from that. But you also have the fact that those two elders who are 91 years old, which is a reminder, they're the same age as Hiruzen. Hiruzen was 69 years old when he died. It's been 22 years since the start of Naruto Part 1. 69 plus 22 equals 91 years old. They know and they remember the truth about what happened with the Uchiha massacre. So even though Itachi was a hero in that circumstance and a pawn that was used by Danzo in that moment, they also have a prejudice against the Uchiha. In fact, when Madara came back and attacked the village and he was fighting Hashirama, when Madara had the Nine Tails, they were children. They have every reason to look at Uchiha and have a side eye and have some prejudice already ingrained into their head. In the eyes of something like that, the Uchiha name, both publicly as well as with people that know the truth, it has been loosely and in some cases directly tied to betrayal and dishonor, no matter the truth or the circumstances. Itachi's massacre, it is still something that when you look at Japanese culture, it is something that is remembered as an act of disgrace, even if his motives were noble, which most people don't know that they were noble. Sasuke's past crimes, they will always linger as a shadow, despite Sasuke trying to redeem himself. And now, Sarada's loyalty to Boruto, that can easily be spun as proof that the Uchiha are basically a curse, that the specter of Madara Uchiha still lives on in someone like Sarada, and that she is supporting people who betrayed the village, which makes her someone who's betraying the village as well. This is political dynamite if Kobu decides to use it, which more likely than not he will. To the feudal lord, who ultimately controls Hokage appointments, Sarada could be painted as the daughter and the niece of traitors, following in their footsteps by protecting Boruto, the so-called killer of Naruto Uzumaki. It gets even crazier when you get into the Japanese historical parallels. Sarada's story really echoes certain moments in Japanese history. There are countless tales of samurai families that are carrying on the burden of their clan's reputation, even if individual members are innocent. Loyalty to one's comrade, even when that comrade was branded as a criminal, was considered both noble and dangerous, which I know there's going to be somebody typing, Naruto's a story about ninjas, so where's this samurai stuff coming from? Look up some samurai stories and then look at Sasuke. This is applicable because Sasuke's daughter is Sarada. Sasuke's character was written with a lot of samurai elements. For instance, you can take the story of the 47 Ronin. They were loyal retainers who avenged their master against the shogun's orders. They went directly against it. That resonates very strong here. The shogun, as you should have learned in a video that should have went up yesterday, the shogun is basically one of the things that's modeled for the Hokage. These people, like Sarada, they sacrifice honor and reputation and even their lives for loyalty. Kobu is acting as basically a representative a regent, if you will, for the emperor. The emperor in this case being the feudal lord, who is a mix between a daimyo and an emperor, as well as has some characteristics of a shogun. Again, that video will be linked in the description box. I don't want to talk about stuff I talked about in a video that should just gone up. Now, the question for Sarada is, does she remain loyal to her comrade Boruto, or does she betray the bond in order to preserve her own ambition? Choosing loyalty, it puts her at odds with the feudal lord's politics, but it also aligns her with the truest form of the shinobi way, in particular Naruto's will of fire. This is a very poetic inheritance of Naruto's will of fire, by the way. It all comes full circle. Naruto built his entire identity as Hokage, and along the way, in terms of chasing that dream of never abandoning his friends no matter the cost, he broke that cycle of hatred. Yes, he had to use power to do so with Sasuke, but he also, most importantly, was able to break that cycle of hatred through compassion and empathy and loyalty to Sasuke. It just had to cost him his arm in the process. Sarada is now walking that same path. She is risking her dream, her reputation, and maybe even her future as a shinobi to protect Boruto. Just like Naruto, she refuses to sacrifice her comrade to satisfy the demands of politics. This isn't a weakness, that is a strength. When you're able to stand up to your friends the way that someone like Naruto is able to do, the way that someone like Sarada is doing by standing up against those who have direct control over her career ambitions. This is poetic. Again, the daughter of Sasuke, the girl who admired Naruto, who at times wished that Naruto was her real father, is now embodying Naruto's spirit more than anyone else in the village. Sarada is showing that Naruto was right to believe in Sasuke because his daughter is proof that Sasuke could have been redeemed. While others might see her as reckless or as naive, she's proving she is the rightful heir to Naruto's legacy. And if Naruto once went from a crayon-eating, glue-sniffing, paint-chip-eating outcast gaining to Hokage, skipping all the ranks along the way, which is a reminder, anything that you might have seen in Naruto Shippuden that is filler content, Naruto never became a Jonin. Maybe, just maybe, Sarada's defiance, her loyalty, and her unwavering devotion to the will of fire, they are the very things that will one day make her Hokage. Not via the feudal lord's approval, which will eventually come once Omnipotence is done, but in order to achieve her goal, she has to follow her own heart. So when Kobu finally interrogates Sarada, which I think is coming, it won't just be about Boruto. It'll also potentially be about whether or not Sarada can prove herself as Naruto's true successor, or will the weight of her clan's history be thrown in her face? Will that potentially bury her for sticking up for Boruto? Obviously, if you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing, clicking here on the left to check out this Naruto Explained video, or click here on the right to check out videos from my other two anime channels where I talk about non-Naruto content.